I'm 4'11". I made the statement earlier this year that all of my students are taller than me, except for one with the same height. But all the students are taller than I am. So to stop a fight, we have some difficult problems with it. And what the problems are is, number one, we can't touch a child. Number one, everything stays number one because it's first priority. Number one, if a child gets fighting and they're in the middle of the bus and I've got to stop my bus and push that button in the back, we have a problem because I can't get through this fight. Number one, if one fight starts, everybody's like this, and this starts another fight. So you're in a bad place. If you stop the bus, the only thing we can say is you must stop fighting 3 times. Well, what if that child is being choked? What do I do? As a driver, I'm in trouble. Either way, if I touch the child or scratch or say, oh, hey, and that hurt arm bruises, I'm liable. So what do I do? And these are questions that we have, and it's hard for us. It's hard for us to drive. People think, oh, you're just driving a bus. Oh, you're just a bus driver. The stress of your body is another thing. You get off the bus, my back hurts, my feet hurt. You during the day, your head is bothering you. So it's a whole lot. People think, oh, you're just a bus driver. I'm not just a bus driver. I am what, Devin?
A pilot of ground transportation that transport the most precious cargo God ever created, children.
Children. And that's our first priority is children. Our children, getting our children educated, getting our children to school to be educated. And nobody understands that you got to get them at 4 o'clock and at 6 to get that child. We have a whole thing. We have to pre-trip the bus. We have to make sure everything is set. Lord, if you get there and all of a sudden, oh Lord, I need oil. So that means my route is late. Or I get there and I'm on my route and oh, it's backed up. Dispatch is calling me, hey, it's backed up here. So I've got to again stay in. They understand that we are all leading because you have to make a decision. You have to do everything. So all this is part of a leadership position. You're leading. Hey, I got to lead. Once I get on this bus, I got to lead myself through this route and be the leadership person in here because I have precious cargo here and I have to get them safely to and from school. So we have a few questions. I'm going to let Mr. Ishman go ahead and do his part, and then we'll go ahead and do the leadership questions, and I'll ask everybody to get a marker, and we'll go around and write maybe 3 answers to these questions, and then we'll discuss those.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Say it with me. What about
The bus drivers.
What about
The bus drivers.
As Ms. Barnes told you, I don't know if she knew it, you know that we are from Birmingham City School, but she's actually our president of our local association, Birmingham ESP. Right behind her is Ms. Wanda Naylor, is our vice president of Birmingham ESP. Right next to us is Ms. Sarah Smith, our assistant secretary of BSP, and I'm the money treasurer.
And he typed just like you got his fixed.
For Birmingham ESP. If the early bird fee to get here is $45, I'm not paying $46.10. I'm paying $45 on the first day because it's only the bill amount to make stuff work in this leadership. So the last time I talked to these people in these classes, I said we got to get more support professionals writing resolutions that benefit support professionals. So the question I have today right now, starting off is, has anybody started working on any of those resolutions? Now, they'll simply be here right before you know it. The commission time will be time to get those resolutions be here right before you know it. It's June now. Next time you know it'll be October. And Courtney will be sending that email out. You got the resolutions, you need to put them in. So anybody start working on resolutions yet? For support professionals, for ESPs, for bus drivers. Or we're going to be in this vote for teachers get a new $1,000 stipend because they won't keep shoes on the first day of school. They're like, yeah! And we're outvote us? It passes. What about the bus drivers getting a stipend, $500 for wearing a pair of Nikes for first day of school? Huh? But yeah, I get it's kind of overwhelming, but we got to work on it. We got to deal with it. We just got to put them up there. You'll be surprised at what a pass we put them up there. And like I said, what we got to do is think about the whole support professional team. When you think about the whole support professional team and you use the word educator, and not just bus driver, not just paraprofessional, not just teacher, it covers and has the possibility of covering everybody if it gets passed. And that's what we're working on. Anyway, I have a couple of handouts here. What about the bus driver? It's about question and answers about leadership on how we move up the chain of command in order to get things done. It originally got wrote to handle things for student behavior on the bus, but it applies the same way to get momentum done as Ms. Barnes was saying earlier about promotion at their job. So this is happening. People are getting promoted at our place of employment who don't even have a qualification that you already have. Maybe you don't desire to be the boss. Maybe like there's just too much, I don't want to be that, I don't want to do that. But shouldn't it be you versus somebody who don't even know how to do what you do? I mean, there needs to be a pattern set up that there is a step or a progress for the person that works here to move up. And if that spot opens up and we don't even put our hand in the ring to move up, and then they bring some Tom, Dick, and Harry in there that don't know anything about what we're doing, having an experience of it and start making rules or policies in place that really infect us, and we have to abide by it, and they think it makes sense, and then you never do what you do. So that's where we are. So on that handout right there, on the second page, it said, let's get going. For any employee that drives a school bus, this is your primary objective, period. Nothing more, nothing less. Anything more than this is extra. Anything less than this is unacceptable. This is it. What's the first thing you say do?
Pick up on time.
Pick them up on time. If you can pick the children up on time, every time, you did your job. And the second thing, it sounds funny, but what does it say?
Drop them off alive.
Drop them off alive. If you can pick them up on time and get them to school alive, pick them up from school on time and get them back home alive, you've done the perfect job that day. And that's the number one goal. Look at this. Relations page. Probably like page 5 or 6. Is that relations at the top? And this is where we get a lot of trouble at right here. Either somebody on this chain of command relationship page don't do their job, or we get to the point that we're so frustrated because we let them slide 13 times. And now we're here and we want something done, but nobody in the chain of command knows anything else about those 13 times. Okay? I believe that you should have order on your bus. You should be able to run your bus the way you want to run your bus. I mean, legally and fairly or whatever. But at the same time, if you keep giving them warnings, and now you're fed up with them, you want something done about it, but the person on the upper chain of command don't even know nothing about the first warning. They weren't included on the first message, the first warning. Now you look like you just the mean bus driver. The parent gonna say the mean bus driver, him and the parent and the teacher gonna have a conversation about you behind your back. The parent and the front driver gonna say you behind your back, and then they gonna talk to your coordinator or your director, and they probably think you're pain in the neck already, because everything is a big deal. So you have to try to use the process to get those information to the proper channels to make sure your stuff can stick. And where did I put that at? what's called write-ups. The side with the color blue on it, it's what it looks like for the bus driver. The other side, I did what's called infiltration. I went inside the school to see the teacher said, I ain't got enough. Then, yeah. So, the other side, I did a little infiltration. I went inside the school system to find out what the teacher was doing. And the teachers have a code on the back of it for every infraction of the code of conduct. And that makes it legal. Which had me get on my, at that time, coordinator nerves. So when I would write up and put the codes in, he would take my write up and edit before it went through. He would remove the codes out and just say what was done. Because the color side don't use codes. The color side just say what was done. But I needed teeth in the write-ups. So I learned the codes. The most important code on that sheet is code 2.17. It used to be code 2.19, but some lady came to the district. Her husband was on false, and they hired her when they hired him and gave her the authority to rewrite the code of conduct. And it changed the code from being 219 to 2.17. I'm not going to tell you that the code of conduct had misspelled words in it because that's not important. But if they would let a bus driver read the code of conduct before they made all those printed copies and wasted all that paper, we probably would have had something going on. So, what can we do starting here today with the situation we have going on at our level to make progress on a local level, then start moving on the state level to the point that we move on national level? And it don't have to be a correct answer. It's not being graded right now, but we need a popcorn suggestion right now. Like say we had a suggestion box. Anybody?
Our system just adopted no tolerance. And I'm telling you, they don't play. It's called, it is no tolerance. They get caught vaping, they're off that bus. They get caught fighting, they're off that bus. And that just got instilled this year. And it made a difference. Which I honestly can't remember the last time I had a fight on my bus, but I have had something got caught vaping and betting 3 to 5 days off that bus. And I think by the 3rd offense, they're expelled.
Fighting is something with 2 offenses.
Is it 2?
The second offense is
Right.
fighting.
3 to 5 days and how many off the bus? I mean, how many?
He's after the second offense off the bus.
Second offense off the bus.
Second time offense.
And that was put in place by board policy of board. The superintendent that spoke to us yesterday was the one who actually wrote that. He was the superintendent of safety and prevention at the time. He wrote that policy and the board put it into place because they're transporting 35,000 kids in Baldwin County and they can't afford for somebody to get injured in a fight or something like that on the bus.
All right, I got an action item. Ms. Lady, can you write this down? Action item. Matt Hodge gets that information to us in print,
I'll get you
document, or website or whatever policy.
It's on the Baldwin County policy manual, so I'll get you that.
Get it to us because all of us need to hand that type of information to our superintendent ASAP. Now, granted, your superintendent might not accept it the same way it's written. They might water it down some, but any type of policy that moves progress is better than what we got already.
I had a student that he just thought it was funny to wear, and I don't know what it's called, it's like that belt that has a line of bullets on it, and it wasn't real, but he got on my bus with it. Well, I already had an IEP on this student that he can turn violent, like snap on you real quick, he resist authority and everything. So I was kind of panicking. I really did not know what to do. And so I got him to the school, but before I could get and call my dispatch, the students had already ran to the principals. Even though it wasn't real, he was off that bus for a week.
So on the back of that color sheet, there's a code for something like bringing a water gun to school. That would kind of fall under that same category. And see, that's why
He
we
was just
gotta,
wanting attention when he got it.
that's why we gotta have these codes in effect. Can y'all find a fancy class too somewhere? Say something like bring a water down to school. Come on, Devin, use them young eyes to find your face.
I was right.
A lot of times, when a kid, if you see that child, sometimes you need to just stop, hey, wait, stop. Because a lot of times my kids get on.
They
I have-
told me that afterwards, but it's like, if you've never dealt with that situation, it
Right.
kind of like put me in a predicament, like, what do I do? So
Right.
as soon as I parked that bus, I got on the phone with my route specialist, and I was like, okay, you tell me what should, not my route specialist, assistant director. I
Right,
said, tell me what should I have done?
right.
So if
Well,
I ever deal with
my
it.
biggest problem with my children is eating on the bus, which is out, it's my number one rule. It's number 3 on the list, but number one rule is no eating on the bus. Because if the child chokes, or anything, and again, our biggest problem is we cannot touch a child. So that really, it puts us in a hard place. Because if that child is
What did we
choking,
go through the training? I don't remember, is it called MSD? What's the training called? MCS.
That's crisis.
and so,
So would that work in this situation?
That's what we look for in violence instead of a choking.
Right.
That would be.
Oh,
that would
okay.
be-
Yeah.
That would be your
That's-
first aid training.
Yeah. So if you had the first aid training and you had the MCS training, but whether it was a fight or a medical condition, you can put your hands on the child in a proper manner. Okay.
and I'm just saying that, if they're choking and stuff, and, our system is like, don't touch that child. Do not touch that child. And so, you got to just kind of use your intuition and go, hey, this
They would
child
be
is,
dead by the time they get to me on my route, because it's out in the woods.
and it's, we are really, a lot of people don't understand that we have to take that leadership position and say, hey, do I want to touch this child? Or do I not want to touch this child? I don't want this child to die. I don't want this, because these are drastic measures that will happen. So we got to really put ourselves in that leadership position and say, hey, it is what it is. And that's a hard thing because you have consequences after that. Which is a hard-
My job before I lost a child.
Right. So you got to put yourself, and that's part of the safety issue, because you want that child. Our number one priority is get that child safely where they need to be, and get them back safely. So that's still part of the safety issue here. So it's a lot going on that a lot of people don't know. And again, our biggest thing is, oh, it's just a bus drive. It's just a bus drive. No, it's not. The bus drive goes through a lot from 4 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock, and people don't understand it. It's just, it's just a bus drive. Oh, it's just a bus drive. No, bus drive is going through a whole lot of issues, and it has to take a lot of leadership positions, and a lot of people don't understand that. We have to take this. Say, hey, what do I do? So let me go ahead and get this leadership information and say, hey, I'm gonna save this child. Because I'm like you, I'm not gonna let a child die, not on my bus, not on my route, not on my watch. So you gotta take those leadership positions. And that's why a lot of people, when we decided to do this class, a lot of people were saying, what kind of bus jobs for leadership? We need some leadership.
Yeah.
We need that, we need to know that, hey, this is what we do, this is what we do. Now, one thing I want to hear from is maintenance. Give me something, because I know y'all go through a lot.
Oh, I'm not on that side of maintenance.
Oh, okay.
You on the mechanic side of the maintenance of a school bus?
No, I'm on the other side.
Like custodial?
Facility maintenance.
Yeah, facility.
Okay.
Custodial?
Oh, okay.
No, just,
Line keeping?
yeah, basic work in schools.
Okay. So what, can you got like, for somebody who don't know, kind of list a couple of things, because when you say maintenance, it's a broad, it's a couple of things that you responsible for.
Well, we mainly maintain the schools, like, fix doors, hang chalkboards, redo the floors.
Kind of like a carpenter,
Right.
plumber, you pretty much like
General.
what they would call a handyman out to a residential thing for. You pretty much do that same type of thing, but on a bigger scale for the school system.
Right.
for one particular building or for like the whole system?
We have like, they got us in zones now, we have like 22 schools.
Okay, so each zone is about 22 schools
Yeah.
approximately?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's big. That's a big task. I'm glad you're here with us today.
That's right. Does anyone have any questions or anything that they want to say regarding driving the school bus and being with the school bus?
Mine is a statement, not a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You use the term just a bus driver.
That's
You're just a bus driver that's responsible for every life on that bus
exactly.
and any of those around you in your surrounding area when you're driving that bus. That's a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot. And what we want everybody to understand is the teachers in the classrooms, it's stable. Our classroom moves. Our classroom moves. And you got to really put that in your head, because our classroom, when you got 30, 40 children behind you screaming, hollering, talking, even just talking quietly, it's still a lot of noise. Plus, you got to watch all this traffic that's going around and stuff. So you got to take the leadership position and say, hey, this person is, because no car driver really wants to be behind the school bus. So they will and jump in front of you. You got 40 children on here.
And you've got to step on brakes.
Right, and I've got to make sure that these children are safe behind me. So if I hit on brakes and all these children go forward, what happens? Their children are all in the aisles and stuff like that once you jump in front of them. And a lot of people don't understand this. Running stop signs. I had a child that downtown by the Alcida Center, it's a school right across the street. Well, this is all these art programs and everything, but that's the bus stop. And it's 4 lanes. It's 2 on this side, a medium, and 2 on this side. Well, once that stops, peace. I literally have to get off the bus sometimes and go stop traffic because people come speeding through. So we're trying to get this straight where nobody can we have to get another bus stop. Really is what we need. Even if we need to go into school and we're begging, hey, we need to get another bus stop because this child is gonna get hit. He's peeping. He ran across the street and a bus was coming. My stop sign is out. The law says if this stop sign is out, you stop.
You said there was a medium in the road and he's
There's-
still crossing 4 lanes?
He's
See, in
crossing.
Baldwin County, we're not allowed to do that. We have to go down,
That's
even
why
if you gotta go
we-
down and turn around and come back the
That's
other way.
what we're saying. This is
Yeah.
a dangerous place
Yeah.
for this child to be going across.
We're also
the
not
street.
allowed to leave our seat if there's students on the bus.
I have to,
Yeah.
because this child's about to get hit.
Right,
This child's about
yeah,
to
that you
But
need
my
to
bus
speak
is
with your,
secure out of my
director.
bus is over in this lane, in the far lane.
yeah.
Stop. My stop sign is out. But he has to cross the street. I said, go down to the stops.
Cause they don't have to stop
To
if there's
the
a
light.
medium in the road, the
Right.
other ones don't have to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Go down to the stop sign and cross the street. He doesn't want to do this. Baby, you gotta
Then
do
you need
something.
to
I
talk to parents.
gotta get off the bus. So we're telling our supervisor, hey, it's a bad stop.
I'll say
It's a bad
this,
stop.
on that, if the state transportation department audits that route, they're gonna shut that stop down.
They need to.
They're gonna make that coordinator, or whoever your route specialist is, run you down and back because, you're putting the kid off on the wrong side of the divided highway, and that is actually against the law.
But, and that's what we're saying.
And that's what, if I was your
It's a bad
UD, I would be in there defending you. That's the way I would defend you too, is I was like, you can either change the route or I can have the State Department make you change the route.
Exactly. stop. And this is somebody else's route that I was driving.
Right.
Which is another thing. We've got to, we're so short-handed. We're driving other routes, and I'm going, is this the stop? And nobody knew this until I said, hey, this is not a good stop.
Because the other driver that had it been doing it.
But
that
as
way.
a driver, are you not allowed to say, no, I will not be liable
Yes,
for
you
that?
got, and that's the thing, is
You don't know until after
your
it's
unit service director, call your unit service director and tell them what you're fixing to do, and then tell them, I'm not stopping, drop that kid off there.
Exactly. So they, now I have my regular route back, but in the evening sometimes I
Call every kid.
drive driving this route, and this is, but we didn't know
Right.
until
Yeah.
I started driving, and
Yeah.
I'm going, hey, this is not good.
And check this out, like you said, we're shorter we are. When I first got there in 2012, we had over 100 bus drivers and over 20 subs. Sarah was already there when I got there. I'm talking, you had so many people that worked as a sub. They would use the sub sometime as security to make sure nobody didn't break in the cars in the place. If you had a bad route, they would get the sub to ride with you to act as a monotone. You know what I'm saying? We had that many subs and that many drivers. Well,
We have over I think over,
410 drivers.
and that's not including the subs.
That's
is it?
not including sub, and we're still short.
and y'all still short. So like I said, right now we should have somewhere around 100 drivers. We probably got 50 regular drivers right now. That's not counting if I said teachers that come and drive, like what you do, we probably got this many amount of teachers / coaches that drive. But it's not enough because they're driving and they have to go to a school. So if I'm out, they can't technically fulfill my route because when they do their portion, they stop ends at that school that they work at, or around the corner of the school that they work at. You understand what I'm saying? They're not like a regular bus driver that can do W.J. Christian and Martha Gaston, Ramsey, and Sun Valley because they got to be at a school at a certain time. And then in the evening, they got to get off work at that school. And like one of the ladies, she's a high school teacher. And her particular principal won't let her off to go get her elementary school. Because in Birmingham, elementary gets out before high school. Won't let her get off from high school to go get the elementary school, then come back to high school. So somebody else has to go get her high school every evening. That doubles up that route. So these are situations that we need to be aware of and try to be proactive on how to deal with that. Because the shortage is probably not going to get full by next week. When school starts back next year, you're probably going to be just as short as you were, if not shorter. Because I don't know about y'all, it seems to me like the very moment we get another driver trained, another one has retired, another one has quit, Lord forbid, another one has went to go see the Lord. You understand what I'm saying? So it almost like what they call it, 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other, and taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I did find that code. I told you I was in class 2, it's class 1, bringing a water gun to school. And anything that happens on school, that same law, rule, code applies on the school bus. That's why it's called a school bus, not the regular bus. And if you want to put teeth in it to make it worse, because in your situation, you didn't know if those bullets were real or not.
They didn't sound like it, but they were clanking. I didn't think they were, but you couldn't.
Are you a bulletologist?
No, I'm not.
Are you
I know to stay away from them when they're flying.
are you a drill sergeant? Are you a drill sergeant?
No.
A sniper?
No.
A police sergeant?
No.
An
I know
ammunition?
how to shoot a gun if I need
An
to.
ammunition or explosives specialist? Are you related to Murdoch off the 18th?
No,
Well, you don't know exactly what was on the man. Everything you do is a guess. So to put teeth in it, if you had to write it up, water gun. If you was using ours, water gun. And since you ain't sure, 3.10, 3.09, 3.10, 3.11, I think it's explosives. And 3.12 is a bomb threat or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Put teeth in it. It's up to the other.
Well, the thing is, he had a backpack too, so I didn't know
You don't
what
know
was in the
what's in
backpack.
You can't search them.
And you know, but he had a look on his face like he was daring me to say something to me. And so he walked back there and he's really quiet on the bus. But since then, we kind of had an understanding. I find out he really is a sweet kid that has some problems. So that's another thing. If you get to know these kids, but if the counselors don't talk to us, or a teacher or their caseworker or whatever, if they don't talk to us, we don't understand these kids sometimes. And now he is now he got kicked off my bus for double fist and flipping me off in the middle of the highway, stopping traffic. But now he is the sweetest kid and most respectful to me. But I think there had to be an understanding. I had to know what his case was, and he had to know she ain't playing.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that, a lot of times, we have a little program where they put the STS, the special needs kids, on our bus. And we had, we had one person on my bus that said they're trying to get him to interact with other
Right.
children.
I have one of those.
And so it was during COVID when we would drive a little past COVID, and we had the first 2 seats we had to block off. Well, he didn't understand why he couldn't sit in that seat. And I explained, well, I'm not qualified to keep training this child, hey, because I've got 40 children on my bus, and, hey, baby, I gotta do my route. And the mother followed, she followed the bus because she was trying to understand, she really wanted him to get out in the world, and he's got to, interact. He pitched a fit. Why? And he was getting louder and louder and louder. And I said, sweetheart, you can't, trying to be calm. So I had to pull the bus over and say, wait, we just can't sit in the seat, okay? That didn't work. Why? Well, I've got to get these kids to school, and I've got to get these kids safely to school. This is not safe, because I don't know what he's going to do now. So thank God I was 2 minutes away from the school. So I pulled in, and I said, everybody stay still. So I couldn't leave my bus, but I got down. I said, I'm begging, hey, come on. I said, listen. I said, I have this young man on the bus. I said, he's screaming on here. And so they had to go and get the special needs teacher to get him off the bus. Well, my kids are not safe on this bus. But I can't leave the bus because my kids are on this bus. So what do? I got to, I climbed in the back of the bus, had to open the back of the bus, climbed back there, I ran back, climbed up, and got in the middle of the aisle. Because my children have to be safe for this one childhood. So they got him off the bus, and the mom came, she said, I am sorry. We're trying. I said, I understand. I said, but I want you to understand that I have 40 other children on the bus, and I gotta make sure that they're safe. We didn't know what he was gonna do. Maybe we can try this later. Right now, no, I cannot do this. And I gotta make that decision. Because I can't, if I can't handle it, what am I gonna do with my children? So it's always a leadership position that you're jumping into that you got to put yourself in. I had a child to get on my bus, and he'd been riding this whole time. This is my star child, not really a bad star child. His name is Amante. What Amante did was he would ride to school. He would come to Sun Valley School. Well, he'd walk from about a half a mile to the school. Well, I found out that he had a knife that was in his sock. He would walk where he walked. He was afraid something would happen, early in the morning, so he would have a little knife. I didn't know that. That's another scary thing for a bus driver. I didn't know he had a knife.
Or why? Yeah.
Right. So what happens is he gets suspended. He goes through the metal detector. What he's been doing is going in the back where there's no metal detector and going into school. Well, he one morning went through the metal detector, ding, 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 ding. Oh, so he gets suspended. So I'm looking for the boy. I'm like, where is Amante? He got suspended. I said, why did Amante get suspended? He had a knife. He carries it all the time. What? So you don't even know what, like you said, I don't know what was in the backpack.
Right.
Well, Amante was this school's children were, Huffman Middle School children were so tough that I had to and they're all boys, taller than me. I put them all in front. Well, Amante gets on the bus. I said, you're suspended. Why? You can't ride the bus. He goes, no, I'm not suspended. Well, we take the child to school. He gets on the bus. He goes to the back. I said, wait. Huffman Middle sits in the front. I said, where are you going? This is what he does to me. And I'm looking at him like, let me tell you something. Let me say this.
Let me say this.
Let me say this. This is what I'm saying about
First of all, let me say this.
First of all, let me say this. You don't want this. I'm going to tell you right now. If you get in your seat or you can get off my bus. Make up your mind what you wanna do. I have to make that decision, because number one, when you look at me up and down, like, oh, you talking to me? Wait a minute, we not, I'm not gonna fight a child, but you gonna get off this bus. Hey, we're not gonna start this. But again, you don't want none of that. You don't. And that's the decision you have to make. You gotta get off the bus. And it's just as simple. Get off the bus. Don't do this. Go back home. Start over, because I can't do this. I got 40 other children I got to pick up and make sure they get to school. You don't want to go to school. You don't want to do this. So I'll make the decision for you. Well, his mother comes because he gets suspended again for carrying another weapon. So Amante gets, and I've been calling this lady saying, ma'am, I need to talk to you about Amante. I'm leaving all these messages. Well, when he gets suspended, this time I said, you're suspended, you can't ride the bus. Nobody's told me you're off suspension. He goes, I'm off suspension, so his mom is there. This is what she told me. She said, Amante is off suspension, he can ride the bus. I said, well, no one told me that he was off the bus. That we didn't get that information. So she says, all you have to do is just call me. I said, ma'am, I've been calling you for 6 months. I've been calling you for 6 months about Amante. She said, what? And we have the little cards with all the information on it. She says, what phone number do you have? So I pull the card and go, blah, 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 blah. Here it is. She says, that's his phone number. So I've been leaving messages on his phone and not hers. So I'm like, okay. She says, so you've been having problems? I said, ma'am, the other day he looked me up and down like he was going to jump on me. She said, what? So she says, wait just a minute. So she takes him over to a little corner over here and she talks to him. I don't know what that lady said, but I'm glad she did. I had, 3 more months of school? He cried for 3 miles from the stop to school. I said, Amante, why are you crying? Oh, my, he literally, and I'm going, this big kid. Whatever that lady said to him, I said, ma'am, I need to get what you said, because I need to tell some more children what you said, but I need some crying children on here.
Write that one down.
Yeah, I'm like, good Lord. But this is what we have to go through every day. And if we get the parents, the school, everybody
to buy in.
This will go
Communication is
it's
what's
the key.
the problem.
It's the key.
I had a child on my bus when I did drive elementary. And I thought she totally defined me every time I would tell her to sit down. I would get this cold, dark stare and almost like rebellion. Well, one afternoon, she sat on the bus. She was crying, and I was in between schools, and I kept saying, what's the matter? And all the other kids around was like, we don't know. She just started crying. She started beating her head up against the window. To the point, by the time I got to school and got out of my seat and went back there to check on her, her eyes were bloodshot and glazed over. Well, it bothered me so bad, but it was a Friday afternoon, and I don't like getting bad news on a Friday afternoon when you can't do anything until Monday.
Right.
So I chose not to call the parents that night. But first thing Monday morning, called because I know they would have wanted to talk to somebody at school. Well, come to find out, the child was bipolar schizophrenic, and they were just introducing her back into general education, like into the general population on the bus. And she had been making strides, but apparently she was being bullied on the playground, and it transferred over onto the bus.
Right.
But the dad was a U.S. Marshal, and he was livid. He said, they were told to inform you of her condition, and there was no communication. I would have handled that child a little bit different had I known, because I thought she was defying me. I didn't realize she was probably medicated, but it had it been communicated, a lot of that could have been alleviated. Like, I could have kept her up a little closer to me and realized there really was a problem. But when you don't have communication between the principals or the caseworkers,
And special ed teachers.
yes, yeah.
And a lot of times, we don't know what we have
Right, we don't,
And let me say.
unless they hand you an IEP, but I was not handed one on this child.
Right, and the thing is that, these children, it's a different breed. When I grew up, when I rode the school bus, my aunt drove the school bus, I sat down.
Right.
I was so glad to get out of school.
There was respect, you was
Right.
fearful of what
Right.
happened when you got home.
Right. I was so glad to get out of school and free my mind and sit down. I sat down, but I was talking, sit down on the bus. But people don't understand just the little things that you have to go through on this bus, that you have to just continually sit down for a whole school year. I said, sit down. What is it you don't get out of it? You don't get sit down? Sit down, because that's a safety issue. Yeah, so you gotta say, hey, sit down. Do I have to stop the bus? It's a lot that, but again, our situation is, it's just a bus driver. It's just a bus driver.
Counselors, disciplinarians.
Right, everything. I actually saw a T-shirt that said all of these things on it. Now, we have some questions here. If you would like to get up and write, or we can just go over, identify 3 qualities that make an effective leader. Explain why it's important too.
Number one, effective leader does not keep laughing, Devin, when the paper falls down.
Do we have, can we identify any qualities,
Do your best.
that make you an effective leader? Communication. I think we have that up here.
Patience.
Patience.
Patience, very good. Very good.
To lead by example.
Okay, now, communication. Why do you say communication?
I guess if you worked for a bad leader and there was no communication, you know the importance of communication.
Okay. And you said,
I said, lead by example. If you're not willing to do it, don't expect your employees to do it.
exactly, and patience.
Wow, buddy. Need to take that back to Birmingham with
You said patience?
Yeah. Well, you gotta have patience, not all the stuff you have to deal with.
Exactly. Very good. Now, it says, describe your leadership style. How does that influence your as an educator? You as an educator.
You were patient. You were
You
communication.
gotta be a good listener.
You was leader.
Okay.
Lead by example.
Okay.
I thought you was handing me a marker.
Explain that.
Sorry.
Explain what you're saying.
Okay, if there's a problem and you don't understand, you can't help them. So you need to listen to that person. I'm gonna give you for instance, we had a student, and I had just clocked out, put my, did my card in the time clock, and we had a student getting on a bus, and he was acting out. He refused to get on that bus. These teachers were all pushing, shoving, trying to get him on that bus. Here comes our principal, and I'm talking, this man he was huge. That's not in here, he knows him. But he's a huge man. He couldn't get him on the bus. I walk out there, I set my stuff down on the picnic table, and I said, I think I can get him on the bus. You want me to try? I walk up there. This is a kid, Down syndrome, stubborn as a mule, and devilish as can be, but I love that kid to death. And I walk up to him and I go, Steve, if you don't get on that bus and go sit down, I'm gonna sit on you and make you a pancake. It's on that bus, sits down. And I go, do you want me to ride with him to make sure he's okay? And he goes, yes ma'am, I'll talk you in. And he hands me my stuff and I get on that bus and I ride that bus. We had no problems. But it's just, I've listened to him in the past. I know the situation at home. It was bad, and he's now out of that situation, and he's living with an aunt and uncle. Things are great. But I mean, he was going home to a mother that was drunk most of the time, a father that wore an ankle bracelet if he was home, okay? So he was in a bad situation. One of the neighbors, he called her grandma. She would hang a sandwich on the fence so he'd have breakfast every morning.
Wow.
So, I mean, it took a village, but we worked with him, and he's doing great now because I see him every once in a while.
And that's the thing, we don't know what's going on at home. And whatever goes on at home, a lot of times, we get it on that bus. Don't pick up anything. We get it on that bus. So it's hard for us. And, you know, again, it brings back, a lot of people wonder why, it brings back leadership. We have to keep that leadership. We've got to lead, you know, you took the initiative. You took the initiative.
But you have to know that kid,
Right.
you have to talk to that kid, you have to know what goes on with him. And knows what wants. And making him laugh was the only thing I could think of to do, and it works with him every time. Every time.
And the thing is, a lot of times, 40 kids on a bus, this is 40.
And that's not even a first lesson on him.
That you got to deal with, that you got to, you got to bring in, you know, so you don't know what's going on. Just think, 40 kids with 40 different personalities. What if all of them are angry? What do you do?
Some of them screaming, some of them.
Right.
And they feed off of each other.
Right,
Yeah.
you know, I have had a girl on there, Chloe. My granddaughter's name is Chloe, so I, Chloe screams. It's always, and you
Every time you hit a bump in the road.
and you go, what's wrong? So now I know, Chloe, what's wrong? Nothing. You're scaring me. The bus driver's
I have a rule on my bus, if you scream, somebody better be
exactly.
sick, dying, or dead. Like,
So, you know, these are things that we have to deal with all the time. The biggest thing is that, you know, a lot of people understand that we lead all the time. Constantly. As long as from the time we get up, it's like, okay, gotta get to work. Getting my day started. I'm trying to you're leading all the time. You all the time with this. And people don't understand that. Okay, my next question is, name a historical figure who exemplified great leadership, and what lesson did you learn from him? Anybody got a historical leader?
Historical leaders, go on.
Well, mine is not a historical leader. It's my dad. And he used to tell us this: when you leave this house, you're an example of me. I need you to lead by example. I said, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. And I was afraid. So I knew nothing could come back from that school bus or that school to tell him, because I didn't like trouble. I didn't like trouble. Nobody, no leader that led him. Man, we have not heard from you.
Well, I'm a parent of special needs.
Okay.
I have 2 special needs kids. 3 out of 4 days, 5 days, we pick these kids up. The first one we pick up, most of the time his mom comes to bring him to the bus, says, well, he's on one today. I said, well, okay, you better stop it right here.
Stop at one right here.
So I didn't have to go. He brings toys to school. The parents at school don't want him to bring them. And I would spend the time between the time we pick him up and the time we get him to school, talking to him to let me have that toys. And it usually worked.
Okay.
And the little girl, I love that child today. She's a little red in that. And we studied. And if I don't start it, she will.
Well, good. There you go.
And then they have us, assembly events on the bus.
Well, see, that's a good thing. So you have a relationship with him, and a good one. A good one. Now, what if you have that?
Whenever I have a kid in school that I was when they won, and the rest of the kids at school would just set him off. And he would beat his head on the wall. Well, he did that one time with me, and then I got to put my hand up like this between his head and the wall, and he quit. Well, they put me with, we had some kids that had behavior problems. They put me with them and put another pair with my special needs kid. Well, he runs off from her. He comes and finds me.
That's a good good relationship.
And she has been in the room standing there looking at him, and him putting his head on the table, and I walk in and he quits.
That's good. That reminds me of my son. My son is a principal at a school in Atlanta, and they have special need kids there. Well, one sits in his office. The teacher will call and say, hey, Mr. Barnes, code 3. So he knows to go and get this child and bring her to his office. And he teaches her in the office. She's that bad. She's really bad. He's the only one that can control her. Thank God that he can, because they would know where to put her. Or if she's
I
really
want to control him. And I mean, I can tell him, don't do that. And he doesn't, he doesn't have that. But somebody else can tell him not to, and
Right. And I think the biggest thing is the relationship, the communication, and all these things come together, and like you said, patience. Because you have that trust, right? You have, and all these are leadership qualities that you have to have in order to deal with these children. And that's the biggest thing. It's really hard. And like you said, everything is moving. Everything that we do is moving. So in order to do that moving, you got to have patience, understanding, all these things. And all these things again are leadership qualities. And I like the one you say trust. You got to trust these kids and they've got to trust you. Now I have another question that says, reflect on leadership challenges you face. How did you overcome it? Did you have any leadership things that you had to face that you had to overcome? I had to remember that I'm the adult. And I had to overcome that because I'm the adult. Because you get on here, I had some children get on my bus in middle school, and I'm just, you sure you're in school? And I'm going, this is an adult getting on this bus. But they're kids. And I'm looking like, really? Really? So I had to just really overcome that I'm the adult and just take charge. Just take charge.
I had a student one time that I had told her to go to a certain seat. She didn't want to sit there, and she was defying me. Well, you know that if you let one child get away with it, you've lost control and respect of the whole bus. And so I had to put my foot down. Well, she went to get off the bus and she was crying. I never want to send a kid into that classroom already upset and crying. So I hold them back to talk about what happened. She explained to me why she didn't want to go back there, and I understood. I said, had you just come up here and talked to me, I would have understood that. And it was because she was a big hippie girl and she didn't want to have to walk down the aisle and her hips bumping and everything. And I said, girl, I get it, but you were disrespectful and I can't let you get away with that. And, but talk, you have to talk these problems out with these kids sometimes. And I had another child that, oh my gosh, he came on that bus in middle school with an attitude, and I dealt with it for years, putting him in a place, in his place, and he wanted to throw up certain situations, race being one of them. And I'm like, that's not the case here. But I noticed just all of a sudden, his junior year, something changed. We were talking about communication earlier. I am one that, yes, we deal with discipline, but I love to recognize if there's been a good change. I love to go to that principal and say, can I give a good commendation, recommendation for a child? But I called this boy's mom and I said, I want you to know there's something different. Something's been changed. And I found out he had a positive male influence that had moved into his life that had changed him. But that communication with that parent, it was like the first time I really got to talk to that mom. And she thanked me. But, sometimes we may have to deal with their problems for a few years until middle school puberty is a rough time, especially for the boys.
That's why I said, bless your heart.
And so sometimes you do, like he said, have to be patient. and work with them. Put your foot down, stand firm, but understand, this boy eventually told me, I don't wanna go home. He was living with a step grandfather that was an alcoholic. He said, I just walk around outside to keep from going in the house. I'd rather be at school.
Wow.
And so, you know, it's good to communicate. You know, when you drive middle school, high school, you don't see parents.
Right.
They don't stand at the bus stop.
They drop off.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see them unless they want to stand there and tell you off for something that happened to their child on the bus. And then when they watch the video and find out it was their child causing the problems, you never see them again.
Right, exactly.
But I guess what I'm getting at is, you know, sometimes it's good to give that positive feedback because it does make a difference in these kids' life that, hey, they notice. And it is enough to make them want to make better decisions.
We have a bus driver that kind of took on 2 children on her bus and said that they had really, just gotten a whole lot better and everything was going really great. But what she did was, she said, if you all would go and this kid was in high school, yeah, and he was going to the prom. He had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was going to the prom, but he wasn't. He couldn't afford it. So she bought him the tuxedo and bought him a suit. She bought him a suit and
The prom ticket.
and she paid for the prom for him. And she said, if y'all would just go over and give him this money to take his girlfriend out to dinner and everything. So we went over and we just kind of said, made a little speech and stuff. We called him that he had no clue. He was so excited. He was so excited, so excited. And so we found out that the home life was really, really bad, but it was getting better. And he was getting better. Well, he was a valedictorian of the school.
Oh, wow.
We're looking at the news going, isn't this the kid He was a valedictorian.
Yeah.
Because he had come all the way, because they said he was an F student. But he wrote,
all they need is encouragement
right, and the bus
sometimes.
driver, he said, I'm so thankful. He hugged us, he thanked me. He said, I'm so excited. Thank you so much. And so we asked, hey, do you have everything you need for the prom? So he said, I do now.
I also feed my kids, and so I use that as a bartering tool. I bake homemade cookies for them and brownies, and they know there's certain times of the year they get it. You know, of course, still in middle school, high school, you don't have as many allergies, and they're big enough to tell you, I can't. And so they know that there's at least 3 times a year that I'm gonna bake for them. And so if they do start making a mess on my bus, I'm like, okay, y'all not mature enough to handle eating on my bus. So man, they'll hold each other accountable. Get your garbage up.
Right.
Like, she's not gonna give us cookies. Get your garbage
Right,
up.
exactly.
So-
Mine is on Fridays. Fridays you can sit where you want, because they have assigned seat. So Friday you can sit where you want. Hey. And so they'll say, man, get in your seat. Friday.
You was talking about you had to drive other routes, when y'all had to cover each other.
Yeah.
I had a sub, my kids loved her because like if I was out for the whole week or whatever, or even 2 or 3 days, at the end of that period, she brought them a treat. And they knew that if they behaved for her, she was gonna reward them. But I usually don't have trouble because I'll tell them, you don't behave for this sub, I got you the best one I can get. The next time I'll find the meanest, most hateful sub I can, you're gonna respect my sub just like you respect me. And everybody always tells me, you have the best route. And so.
Well, my route, one of the other drivers picks up my kids because I'm doing this other route. That would be his route doing my route. Well, I said, my kids acting on your bus? He goes, yes. So when we get to the school, I'm standing there waiting. Miss Barnes, we're gonna ride your bus today. I said, no, you're gonna ride his bus today. So I get on the bus and I said, hey, I'm telling y'all. I said, my kids, I said, y'all know better. Y'all don't do this. This is a problem here. I said, now, if he tells me tomorrow, I'm writing all y'all.
I just tell him, you're not gonna like me when I get back if you act up.
When he got back, he said, Barnes, my kids even acting good.
That means your kids influence his kids.
She said you gonna write all of them.
So, and that's another thing. We need to take ownership and leadership and, hey, we say we're gonna write them up, write them up.
Yep, if you're threatening to do it,
do it, do it.
If you
I
tell
say,
the people to
hey,
do it.
if I say you can't ride this bus today, you can't ride the bus. I had a lady that said, I told her kids, she couldn't ride the bus. Her child rode the bus one time. She waited till almost 2 months before school and calls the office and says, well, she said, Ms. Bond said you couldn't ride, she couldn't ride the bus. So she gets on the bus the next day, and I haven't seen her anymore. You rode the bus twice. How can I put you off the bus? Why would I put you off the bus? What did you do to put me to get put off the bus? So it's a lot of times, and again, our whole thing is when you walk up, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm a bus driver. Oh, you're just a bus driver. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
makes
just a
sense.
bus driver. I'm not just a bus driver. I'm what then?
A pilot of ground transportation that transport the most precious cargo God ever created.
There you go. That's what we do. And a lot of people don't know that on a daily basis, we have to take leadership, ownership of everything that we do on that bus. And that's to get those kids to where they need to be.
I want to respond to something you were saying earlier. When you were talking about baking cookies. Are you, side note, are you going to the RA this year?
So what?
The RA in Colorado? Okay. Did you go last year, to RA? Okay.
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, well, don't worry about that. The next conference we have will be.
I think he's he's not using.
Are you telling me I need to make some cookies?
And I prefer chocolate chip.
Well, I do something called a boyfriend cookie, and that's what I'm famous for. Like I make about 1,000 of them at Christmas time.
What's in the boyfriend cookie?
Milk chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate, white chocolate, peanut butter chips, M&Ms, Reese's Pieces, vanilla pudding, and they're a thick, chewy, crunchy cookie. And
I want some of them.
you can probably only eat maybe 2 or 3 if
I
you're
want
good
some of
with a
them.
cup of coffee.
Do you go to MLT?
Yeah.
I want some of them in MLT.
Let me tell
Matt's been
you, that,
waiting on me. I don't know where he's at. Matt's been waiting on me to.
let me tell you, she can bake.
I believe it.
I've had a lot of things.
You never trust a skinny cook.
If the kids want to act good on the bus for cookies, these cookies must be
I
awesome.
was telling you about the boyfriend cookies. You've had them. I make them. Yeah.
But my point bringing that up is, at my wife's school, she got this thing called gotcha points. I don't know if this is a Birmingham City thing, or if she's the only person that does it or what. And so far, every assistant principal that my wife has had, when they leave, they become a principal somewhere else. I said, you don't realize that you got like a principal training school, you know what I'm saying? Every assistant you had, when they leave, they go to be another principal, you know what I'm saying? And that's what all good leaders do. They reproduce themselves.
Right.
If a position opens up in your department, I'm talking to you about somebody else.
Yes.
So if a position opens up in your apartment, in your department, and ain't nobody in the world to be promoted, that ain't talking about the people, they're talking about you. That's a side note. Anyway, so she has this thing called gotcha points. And every now and then, sometimes they try to make sure that I'm not driving over there because it's my wife's school, but sometimes they can't help it. And if she have a kid on there that acts exceptionally well, I would go in there and let her know, and she'll give them like some whatever, however many numbers, some extra gotcha points, you know what I'm saying? And with gotcha points, they get like a ticket or a color or something like that, and they can go into this room she got with ink pens, pencils, markers, notebooks, backpacks, candy, tater chips and stuff, and buy something in the store, not for money, but for gotcha points. So if you can get your administrator at the school that you're working with to get on board to buy in, you can do something. If you can't bake cookies, you can get them to celebrate the kids that act a certain way in school, and that'll help with
Motivate.
When these kids, I have actually had cards from them, or they'll tell me, "Thank you for loving us. We know," because there's a loving in baking.
Yeah.
You know, and they know that even though I may be strict, they know I love them and I care about them.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want them to know they can trust you, depend on you, and that you care about them and their well-being.
That's your leadership quality.
And that's what's all about.
There it is.
So in the back, somebody said something earlier, made me think about buying in. And that's what we want people to buy into what we're doing. So I put down 8 people that need to buy in for the whole of a student.
Okay.
I never said that before, so somebody write it down so I can say it next year. 8 people that need to buy in for the whole of the student. Number 1, the parent, and it's not no order, but I tried to make them like fit one another. The parent, the principal, the student, the teacher, the bus driver, the supervisor, coordinator, dispatch, director. And then you said something earlier about the caseworker and the special ed teacher. If you get all of them to buy in, it'll be good for the child. Then we mentioned earlier about communication. And you said this right here, you said, well, I'm a parent professional, pull up here with a special need kid, and sometimes the parent come out there and he don't want to give them, but the parent come there and say, what you say, he said he's what?
I said, we're not gonna do this, take him off.
No, what you said, the parent said, he's what?
He's on one today.
He's on one today. That's communication. Now, because she loves this particular kid, because she has bought into the heart of this particular kid, when the parent comes and tells her, she don't say without problem, say, well, if he on one, you need to keep him. She said, come on, we need to do this today. She buys in, they're on a team. And then you mentioned assigned seats. Was it you?
No, amazing, sir.
You mentioned assigned seats. And then I said somebody got your point back to back cookies. Then earlier we had the water guns and the different things related to that situation right here. Over here, what you said earlier, really floated my boat. The no tolerance, the 3 to 5 days in Baldwin County, a policy was written, and Matt is real good about some kind of way getting superintendents to write policies in these schools. I don't know how he does it so well, but this is the second time I heard him saying something. Well, in Baldwin County, we have this situation right here, and the superintendent wrote a policy. You know what I'm saying? I like that, man. So don't pay attention. And the second offense, they off the bus for the rest of the school year.
Yeah, well, there's a clause there too that any major offense can be a one offense and gone.
Okay.
So it would, it would be a judgment call at that point, and they would have the right, students have the right to an expulsion hearing anytime they're expelled. However, that doesn't always translate over to the bus.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's for in the classroom type things. But if it's a one and done thing, they would get an expulsion hearing from the bus because it would be a 1-year expulsion for the bus.
now see, this is what I feel about it. If you can't do it in the classroom, you shouldn't be able to do it on the bus.
Right, that is a classroom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And the only time that that comes into play is when it's not outlined how many days
Okay.
exactly.
That's
the
when
only
judgment
time-
call comes in.
That's the only time a judgment call comes in. If they feel like it was so severe that you don't get, because even with a fight, you get one chance and you get to come back. You can get up to 20 days off the bus for a fight. The second offense, you're done.
Okay. And that's a fight in the school or a fight?
That's a fight on the bus.
Okay.
On the bus.
And when they get expelled, sometimes they send them to alternative schools.
Also?
And then
That's
they'll
exactly, yeah, I emailed you that bus code of conduct that was written to have the zero tolerance.
I like that. So if you get to fight once on the bus, that's like a warning. It could be up to 20 days. If you get to fight on the bus the second time, done.
Hasta la vista.
I like that.
I love
Hasta la vista, baby. Like the
And it was a student safety issue.
yeah, that's what everything has to be related to safety. It can't be they getting on my nerves. I told them to sit down. They don't obey. You gotta be strategic. Everything has to be related to safety. When I was writing kids up, I would capitalize safety and capitalize danger when I wrote a book. All right. Then we had somebody mentioned patience. I think it was you said something about patience there. And then under that I put lead by example. So we want to be patient, and we want them to be patient with one another. So we have to use that, lead that by example. Then we had no eating on the bus, and then some words started popping up. I didn't have enough paper, so I put an underline wrote the words that popped up. And when I came back in, I heard the word relationship. I could have stuck some more, they probably been following. I heard the word relationship. Then I heard the word trust. And you after the person said trust, you focus in on trust. That's important. You got to be able to trust the children, the The children have to be able to trust people. Then I heard the word understanding, like you mentioned in the background that some of the kids were coming from, that other people didn't know. So you told them, you want me to get on the bus and handle it? And I can handle it. You want me to sit on you and make you glass of pancakes? You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying?
It worked.
And what I'm saying, it was engaging. You know what I'm saying?
Kids are sarcastic,
Yes.
and that's why I love middle school, high school, man. I can talk to them like I talk to my kids, and I can be just as sarcastic as I want to be, and they love it.
And the last thing we're talking right now is reflecting. That's what we're doing right now. We're reflecting on some of the points. I could write down everything I said, but some of the points that y'all were saying while Ms. Barnes is teaching this class. And another thing I want to say, can we, we ain't through yet, but can we give it up for Ms. Barnes? I mean, because this class is awesome, it's engaging, it's pulling, even some of the ones that didn't want to participate, that's why you hear them blurt out something. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the leadership skills that she has. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing is just driving a bus, you need that release.
Yes.
We need to hear these stories. You know, we need to hear what's going on. We need to know what's going on in order for you to be a leader. Everyone in here is taking a leadership position in their job.
One thing I've noticed is like y'all deal with different issues that we do in Baldwin County. Like being a city school, ours we're just more country, more like, you know, we got a bunch of redneck kids, you know, we're just more laid back. Our children, and my sister-in-law used to drive in Prattville, Alabama, and we would talk, and it was a whole different world for her. She had much more discipline issues on her bus than we did.
Right. One of the issues that we have is like cell phone. Cell phone.
We got
We got the cell phones, but
Oh my God.
but the Wonder Pouch. Do y'all have a Wonder Pouch in your school yet?
So some schools have them.
Yeah, because we
Some
have
do,
them.
some not.
But a lot of them just choose like rather than have to lock their phone up, they just leave them at home.
Yeah.
My granddaughter got called to the office because she didn't lock her phone up. I don't have it, I left it at home, if I can't use it, why do I bring it? You know?
Exactly. A lot of them have started just leaving them at home.
Well, it's a big issue on us. That cell phone is really something. And you know, for me, I don't care if you use a cell phone. I know you're not supposed to. I just don't want to see it, and I don't want to hear it.
I love it. And the
I
headphones,
don't want
they listen to music, it has to be, which in Baldwin County, we're no longer allowed to play music on the bus because it interferes with the cameras and they can't hear conversations that they need to hear in case of a situation. And so now it's like, you know, you cannot play your music out loud. You have to have headphones on, whether it's a game or whatever. Put your headphones on or put your phone up.
And I started at the beginning of your hey, you have cell phones, 1 week, get an earpiece.
Yeah.
I need to have an earpiece. And my children, when they get on the bus, I said, I want you to know that I have 82 cameras on this bus. No, we don't have 82 cameras.
You got 82 students, you do.
I said, I can see you inside out, whatever way. I said, I can zoom in on your eyes just like this.
Well, our camera system,
That's the lie I tell you.
our camera system is that good. It zooms into a seat, here's the conversation, and what I tell them is, you better remember, at all times these cameras are going, and you never know when an incident might happen that we have to pull it for that incident, but in the meantime, they're gonna see what everybody else was doing, because it was between 2 kids one time, and I wound up having to get 6 suspended because there was other things going on.
Listen, let me tell you this story. One of our bus drivers, what about my height? 2 high schoolers, she drove high school. 2 high school girls decided that they would wait on the bus and jump on her.
Oh.
Jump on her. And these are big girls. Now, you don't get ready to graduate from high school. Why are you doing this? So they jumped on the bus driver. To this day, we looked at that tape for probably about 15 or 20 times because we kept saying, how did that bus driver get out of that seat and beat those girls up? It was like a WWF wrestling. I'm telling you, because we kept, after the superintendent came in, and they decided they would jump on and knock the lady in the head. And we kept going back, go back. And that's how I knew that that you could zoom in.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
she was out of that seat. She beat those two girls up, and so one was in the hospital, and one was bandaged up. So we had to call the superintendent in to come in and stuff. So he suspended them from the city. They couldn't go to any school in Birmingham area, that city or county. He suspended. And so they get ready to graduate. You can't graduate your child. But it was the idea that once we saw that tape, and we kept saying after the superintendent left, we were like, can we see the tape again? He just kept looking and looking and looking. She was out of that seat. That camera was showing, and she was and she was, and they were just frying. We were looking like this is a WWF match.
You said the kids were flying.
She knocked that girl over that seat, and the other one flipped over down the stairs.
Wow.
This lady is alive.
That's because those bus drivers were super women, supermen.
Davis is about 70.
Yeah, she was about
About 70. I'm looking like, gee.
Yo, mama.
And look, I said, well, I know not to mess with Miss Jefferson. But it was amazing how the cameras zoom in so, it zooms right in.
Oh, detail.
Once they, like, I had to pull that and a bunch of them got suspended. I said, do y'all not understand when I tell you these cameras see all?
Right.
All. Don't play. You never know what day they're gonna pull these tapes.
Right, and you can see everything. So, like I said, there's 82 cameras on my bus. Yeah, hey, I see everything. I see from your head to your toe. And they think there's 82 cameras on the bus.
Well, what's funny is the kid gets in trouble. The school, the police officer, and the principals, they've already seen it. They call mom in, and mama's up there swearing her child would never do this. It's not my child, it has to be somebody else, y'all just mistake.
Right.
And then mama goes in and sees that, mama says, let me borrow an office. And then you hear a bunch of whop, whop, whop,
Yep.
and then, I'll never do it again.
Well, that
Situation was.
at my son's school, he tells us about these two girls that were gonna fight. What one of the girls did was put up, had made signs and put them up all over the lockers everywhere. This girl is a bitch, and she blah, 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 blah. So they had to call the parents in. And so they got into a fight, and they had to call the parents in. Well, one of the mothers said, that's not my child. I didn't get her nails done like that. And we look at the lady like,
Nails.
what? I said, so what do you mean? Oh, that's not my child. And so they pulled the tape. And they look at, that's your child. Is that your child? Oh, no, I didn't get her nails done, but this your child. He said, I just didn't get it. What's the parents? So they just don't understand. And that's a big problem. I hate to say this, but it's the parents also.
It's them.
It's the parents.
A lot of times they do not fall from the tree.
You know how to say it.
Most of the time.
Yes.
But I have had parents come to me, don't you remember me? And I'm like, voice is familiar. I'm like, yeah, I had you in elementary. And I was at high school and I had their high schooler.
So, it's about our time. Are there any pertinent questions or issues that we might not have addressed, that we probably need to put in for the next session from anybody today? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a statement, just a thought. I think bus drivers should get together, just as bus drivers, nobody else, just the bus drivers, discuss their issues, make a list of what they're seeing, because 9 out of 10 times, you're all gonna see some of the same issues.
Or something similar.
Yes, and then present that to your office, present it to delegate assembly even, and get that information out there so you can get help in solving issues.
I like that. Bus drivers getting together, transportation department people getting together and write down those issues. Attitude, let's make some resolutions.
See, I incorporated.
Yeah.
Even if you can't get them all together,
Right.
if you had a survey sheet or some type of sheet that you can pass out to all the bus drivers
But you
and
can
let them voice
start,
their opinion.
you can start by getting as many
Yeah.
together as
Yeah.
possible. And then get it out to your feeder patterns and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, our county is so big, it's hard to get anybody to show up.
I think they should let y'all speak at one of the meetings,
Okay.
big room. Several-
Oh, you talking about like in the
Board
general
meetings
session
or-
versus just a breakout
Yeah,
session?
yeah, like one, somebody go up there and just, it might be 2 or 3 of
Okay.
y'all. Speak about 10 minutes.
I got a third thing then. At the end of every one of these conferences, they have a survey.
Right.
And you grade this, grade this, grade this. Okay, and the survey.
Group of guys goes up, and it was all guys. They go up in the mountains, and they write out the regulations about school buses. And this is when they raise the back of the school bus seat up so many inches for safety purposes. They explain what those black lines on that bus.
Yeah, the bottom black line is the feet. Yeah, the bottom black line is the feet.
Yeah.
The floor. The second is where the butt hit it, and the top is right there where the head used to be.
And you know what I did? I was a firefighter. And I asked some of the firefighters, did they know what those stood for?
Some of them know.
They didn't.
Okay.
Not a one of them in
Wow.
that group knew.
But that's the
But
purpose
they know
of it.
now.
I learned it on Facebook.
Yeah, so they can know where to go in the bus at and not damage something.
Where to cut, and they
Yeah.
had to cut into that bus when they draws the line.
Well, again, thank y'all so much.
I
Make
hope
sure
we
y'all get-
enlightened you a little bit. I hope we enjoyed it. I hope we got.
I was thinking, how much can you talk about bus driver? I go to them every time, but this one, it was different.
Our
Every-
big
every
thing
time
is,
gonna be
we
different.
want you to know we're not just bus.
That's right, they're gonna be more than just talk to you.
Thank you, good. I'm glad.
So like I said,
This one's very interactive.
Enjoy everything.
Thank you.
yes, sir, appreciate you, man.
Yes, we have that. We definitely
This was
have
for
that.
vice president.
Thank you so much. We have that.